They can sell anything.
Do you have a rose gold version of it? All right, I'm in. Listen to everything.
I was out until the rose gold. But
the rose gold kept you out. That was it. Okay. Yeah, I mean,
got me with the rose gold.
Somebody's buying it every time, though. That's the key.
The rose gold.
Yeah.
Is it extra money?
Yeah, I think usually it is. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it was just an option.
No, it's a status symbol.
Opulent C-3PO color.
Oh,
You're just gonna put a case on it.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah, that's kind of how that works. Well, either way,
Smartphones.
clearly you're not getting the rose gold version, so I guess we can gather that right now.
We're out. We're in Android.
You're out. Fine.
Yeah.
We're in
I'll
Android
do it.
land.
Made it out.
I'll get rose
You are
gold.
too. None of us have an iPhone here.
That's true. Yeah, all right. Then we're definitely out. Yeah, don't let them know about that. Hello, everyone. This is Trends with Benefits. This is our weekly podcast here from Digital Trends, where we talk about the trending tech topics of the week, and we have a lot to get to today. We have so many different things to talk about. Obviously, there are huge Apple rumors and leaks that have just come out today that we're going to cover here in just a little bit, including new Apple iPhone, supposed pictures of what it is. We have a supposed name of it. We've got the Apple Watch that's come out. Lots of stuff to discuss with that we're going to get to here in just a little bit. And before that, though, we want to talk about everything that's going on at IFA, in particular 8K. Now, you may be wondering, what's IFA? So if you've seen the initials IFA out there right now, what that stands for is International Funkausstellung Berlin, which is way too many words, which is why everybody just calls it IFA. It's basically Europe's consumer electronics show, just to like dumb it down to that. That's kind of what's going on. So it's a consumer electronics show that takes place in Berlin. It's enormous and lots of stuff being announced this week, including 8K televisions and content, which I'm sure you're wondering, why do we have 8K? There's no content. We're going to discuss that. We're going to talk about some new wireless headphones. Lots of other things to get to. We want your questions, your comments. We're broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Twitch. So let us know what those are as we go through. Let's introduce our cast of characters. I'm Greg Nibler, and to my right,
I am Parker Hall. I am an AV entertainment writer.
That's true.
Okay, we just had that verified. We have fact checkers on site. Ryan is verifying. That was a true statement.
Ryan Waniata, section editor, AV.
Wow, that was said with such enthusiasm.
Yes.
Right there.
Yes.
Section editor AV.
Section editor.
Well, let's talk about this. So the question that I put into this out for everybody who's watching live right now is Samsung and LG announced new 8K TVs at IFA. And the question is, are you ready to buy one? And I think it's kind of a hot button topic because, a lot of people are like, well, I just got a brand new television. What do I have to go about and buy an 8K now? We're going to discuss that side of it. But let's first just kind of go over what the announcements were and what they both brought up. And then we're going to talk about why 8K. So drop your questions in there. I think first thing is Samsung announcing their QLED, brand new QLED 8K television. Ryan, what can you tell us about this one?
So Samsung, first LG actually announced theirs.
LG did it first.
Yeah, they both have been actually showing off prototypes for a long time. The big difference here being that these TVs are actually going to be available to buy.
So
we've
you're
actually
going to be able to purchase this
8K
television.
TVs for a long time.
Yeah.
Sharp had one a long time ago.
Yeah.
But these are the first ones that are actually going to hit the market for Saudi Arabian princes and such people.
Right, it's going to be really expensive.
Such as.
So LG had an 88-inch OLED, which was pretty apparently dazzling in 8K resolution. And then, of course, Samsung
and they had a sample of that, too, at CES last year, right?
They had a prototype.
We've
been having a lot of prototypes, and these are the guys that we're going to actually see on the market.
Okay.
And then we don't know when, but LG's is expected to be around 2019. But then Samsung, of course, came back with their shot and had showed off an 85-inch QLED, which is their special LED technology.
Right.
And not an OLED, though, so it's LED still. And that one is actually going to be for sale, we think, by fall, possibly. So that one's coming even quicker. And we also think that one is going to be probably at a lower price, possibly even below the $20,000 line, which for an 85-inch TV with this kind of technology is pretty impressive, even though it sounds like an astronomical price.
Right, yeah. I mean, it's not for anybody in this room that's going to be picking that up. But if you happen to be a Saudi prince...
No one in the arts, really.
Yeah, right, exactly.
No one, yeah. Well, they just founded and sold an arts company.
Yes. Some sort of technology.
Well, and we've got questions and comments coming through about this too, so I want to get to those and just talk about 8K in general. I mean, I suppose, you know, you could look at it this way. You know, when 4K first came out, even when HD came out, I think it was hard to understand how that would be better until you actually go see it.
Yeah.
Like I was like, okay, yeah, I understand it's HD, so what does that mean? You know, and then the same thing with 4K until you actually see it, and then you're like, oh, now I get it.
Yeah.
Yep, that is way better. But 4K seems to be so good. How is 8K going to improve on this? Maybe we should just start from the beginning, like what is 8K and why should we care?
Sure. So, well, two things there. The first thing is when you said 8K TVs and content, I'm not sure the second one is happening anytime soon.
Not quite yet.
We've had very few
Not unless
amounts
you're at
of
the movie studio.
test broadcasts in 8K,
right?
As far as on the consumer level, but 8K is a little bit of a misnomer in that it is not twice as high resolution as 4K television, but actually 4 times the resolution. It actually maxes out at 33 million pixels.
Okay,
and 4K is somewhere around the 8 million pixel line. Basically, it just means the closer you get to the TV, the less you can see of the pixelation. And some people have argued that even 4K is overkill in that you just don't sit that close to the TV.
Right.
We've argued that you can definitely see a difference. And when you add in other things like wider color gamut and HDR, of course, the picture gets better. But if you're at a certain distance, HD still looks pretty dang good. With 8K, you have to be really close to the screen. So they're using 8K with massive monitors, massive screens, wall-sized screens, because then if you're close up on it and it's encompassing your entire vision, there should be no pixelation. But there's still a question being asked by a lot of people as how close you have to be. Some people say you have to be 5 feet away from the screen
to tell the
difference. To actually have any kind of like improvement with 8K. So it's interesting, but we were talking about this earlier. One of the things that a lot of people are talking about with 8K is for anybody who's ever chunked up a phone into one of those sort of cheaper VR glasses, that you do see some pixelation. It doesn't look as clean and as clear as you would hope it would to sort of give you that false reality impression. And people are saying that possibly 8K will be able to do this.
We'll be able to help out on that
because you'll be so close to the phone, but yet there won't be pixelation.
Yeah.
So.
Well, let's talk about the television. I guess the televisions themselves. What do you think these will be utilized for? These more like giant billboards, or
I mean, there have been commercial applications.
Commercial applications.
Yeah, these are definitely for show floors, I suppose. It's really hard to say what they're going to be used for. They can be used for whatever you want.
In 10 years, everything.
Yeah,
right? Like that's the thing about
that's
the thing about like resolution improving over time is that it just happens. So. In 5 years at CES, it'll be like 4K was at CES this year, which is that like everything
was 4K. Yeah, and that's true.
So
possibly. I mean, the thing is though, like even with HD to 4K, there wasn't nearly as big of a difference in what you can see as compared to HD to SD.
Yeah,
like
true.
Anyone in the world can see from almost any point a massive increase in resolution between standard definition and high definition. 4K is a micro step in comparison, and 8K is another micro step. So while you're probably right, people will move to 8K eventually, there also might be tons of 4K TVs out on the market for years and years to come.
Yeah, the same with 1080p. Like it took a really, really long time for everyone to switch over to it just because
it did, but I think it might even be longer for 8K.
Yeah. Maybe, We might be approaching the way that audio is where like there is a high waterline for audio quality.
Yeah. And then diminishing returns.
Yeah, and so people just don't do 192K. I mean, studios don't even record in it.
Yeah, you're lucky to get a CD quality track these days. Unless you really dig for it.
Well, and we've got some actually good questions that are coming through here about the content side, and I want to get to that too. But just really quickly, back to talking about being able to see the difference. What's the limit on what the human eye could even tell?
Well, that's the question.
I mean,
some people say you need to be within 5 feet of the screen.
Right. So, I mean, how much
it's
more are we
somewhere
going to go
around the
before
5
this
to
really
7
doesn't?
feet. Yeah, exactly.
You know, other than your idea for the application for virtual reality, that I get.
They know, I can't remember what it is, but they know the amount of like megapixels that a human eye is, but I don't know how that translates to real resolution.
To what you can actually
remember
see
the
or
Apple
use.
Retina screens, and that was supposed to be exactly what your Retina could, process.
Well, and we're going to be getting to, just for everybody watching live too, just so you know, we're going to be talking about the Apple rumors and everything going on with that as well. So we've got the iPhone leaks, and we've got lots to talk about with that. Take a look here in the chat, just some of the questions. So John said, eventually 8K will hit your internet provider and ultimately your living room. How will 8K televisions affect consumer bandwidth requirements? What is the normal bandwidth of 8K content? That's true. That takes a massive
That's a really interesting thing to talk about too, because my brother works in video streaming for a major company, and when they talk about providing even 4K content in your living room, the frame rate is still like heinously low. Just because they cannot compete, like the pipe isn't big enough. So 8K content,
different points in the pipe too. It could have gotten all the way to your house and be great, but then your last line going into your house might have issues. It might not have the speed.
I mean, when you're talking about like streaming it on Netflix, like 8K Netflix, I mean, you're going to be really needing to consider the speed of your network to be able to
8K Netflix.
It's just not happening.
We're so far away
That's
from
kind of
that.
a dream.
Yeah.
You're going to need like 5G type speeds everywhere. And again, you got to remember that this stuff comes from, CDNs come, from the company, and then it goes through third-party pipelines and all sorts of places before it hits your ISP and then hits your house.
We're hitting the point at which the infrastructure cannot support widespread use of this technology.
So it's just, it's not.
Where like 4K is like even still.
Yeah. But there is 4K content out there, and I guess that's what I wanted to talk about.
At 30 FPS, though. I mean, you're not getting it at 60.
With the 4K side, assuming, there's not very much 8K content out there, and I doubt there's going to be for quite some time, but 4K content is going to continue to be produced. Pretty much everything's going
and
to be
upscaling. I mean, that's a big
That's
thing.
what I want to talk about. So with an 8K television, does that make 4K content better, or is it just kind of null?
Well, one of the things that Samsung actually was really talking about in their reveal was that they have an AI system in this new TV apparently, which takes everything frame by frame in real time and upscales it. Actually by the frame to make it look good on this TV. So that's kind of an interesting point. Is like,
so it's averaging out 4 pixels essentially, or upscaling to 4 different pixels from 1 pixel.
Okay.
4 times the resolution.
And you actually can tell the difference. And it actually
they say you can. I haven't seen it.
Obviously, we haven't seen it either.
But I mean, we've seen, 1080p upscaled to 4K looks better.
Yeah.
Well, and even for years when we didn't have 4K content, what we would see at the demo looked great, but then when you get the TV home, it might for the first TVs, even some of the mid-range TVs were terrible at upscaling. Yeah. These are not mid-range TVs; they should be great at upscaling.
But
you're paying $20,000 for a television. Yeah, it better be.
But people paid $20,000 for 4K TVs before it was time.
That's true.
They didn't do great upscaling.
Yeah.
So it's a first adopter problem as always. But yeah, again, I think the move to 8K will be one thing for televisions and movies, especially movie screens, but it will also be another thing when you get to other applications, especially VR, I think is, and a lot of it just comes down to the pipeline if you're streaming, the processing if you've got a small device, and of course the content.
I mean, who knows? We might see some kind of disc make a comeback if the pipeline can't support it.
Well, 4K Blu-ray is still doing well, and it still kicks everything else. When it comes to the image quality, it's still beating everything.
That's true. So yeah, maybe we'll see a resurgence in that kind of idea for it. But 8K televisions, that's the bottom line. They are going to be available. If you want to spend a lot of money. I have read some things about maybe billboards and displays at like sporting events, things like that, utilizing the 8K, which probably would look pretty amazing.
With massive screens, it should look really, really cool. And Parker was saying like there are some at least movie theaters I think that are using 8K, although almost nothing is shot in 8K. Yeah,
it depends. Yeah, I mean, and right now even if they're shooting in 8K, they'll be like down sampling it because it allows you to manipulate images in different ways. Essentially, that you can crop in on something if it's 4 times the resolution and have cut into 25% of the image, and that's still a 4K image, right? So it allows you to like a lot of those shots in like House of Cards that are perfectly framed, shot in 8K, cropped into 4K.
They're just cropped in to make it like that.
Yeah. Okay. So
Well,
things
we
are being
see
shot
plenty
in it,
of movies like Thor, the Blu-ray release was
Right.
2K upscaled to
Upscaled,
4K
yeah.
because it was shot in 2K. So it's gonna be.
It just depends. Yeah, if you have a $120,000 red camera,
Yeah, then you're
and
fine.
you want to watch your 8K content on, like, I don't even know how big a movie file.
Yeah, 30
would be,
seconds
but-
for 100 gigs. Or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
So we're
it would look great.
ways out on that part.
Yeah.
Well, again,
Don't worry if you bought a 4K as the bottom
Yeah,
line.
you're good. You're good.
You're fine. Well, we're talking about the 8K content and 8K as far as the televisions that came out. We've got full coverage of that at digitaltrends.com. You can take a look at. Coming up here in just a minute, we're going to talk about the Apple rumors that just broke today and some possible leaks of their new phones. So we have that coming up. And if you're watching live, go ahead and drop in your questions now. Couple other things from IFA just to bring up when it comes to audio, because I know you guys obviously are both audio people. Let's talk about some of the wireless headphones that came out. The Sennheiser. Right, Sennheiser had a big release.
Yeah.
Yeah, their first ever fully wireless or true wireless. I think we're going with now. Headphones.
And actually can headphones, you know.
Nope.
No, they're in-ears.
They're earbuds.
Yeah.
Okay.
In-ears.
I
Yeah.
apologize. See, that's why we have you guys on here to clarify that.
Yeah, they look pretty cool. They're kind of round with a silver Sennheiser logo on the outside. I think they're going to retail for a little over $300.
Yeah, there's some
It's
good things and
expensive.
bad things. I mean, we've heard they sound good. The bad news is they're 4 hours battery. We would like to see more like 5 or 6. And
Yeah.
we think that there's a new chip coming that's going to raise that to possibly doubling the battery life.
Yeah.
Wow.
Qualcomm.
But that's not coming for a while. But also the problem with them is they're $300, which is
Yeah,
double what
$300
you'll pay
is
for
a lot.
AirPods, double what you'll pay almost for what we like is the Elite 65T from Jabra. So they look really good. We'll have to see if the sound is just mind blowing, in comparison. Otherwise, they may be, a little
Maybe
too
a little
pricey
bit too
for
expensive.
some. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see.
So
We
those
haven't
are-
checked them out yet.
Those are 300. Those
They're
are the
premium.
Sennheisers.
It's interesting to see more premium players kind of entering the fully or the true wireless headphone space. It seems like we're seeing more and more of these kind of high tier companies.
And we've seen that from Bang & Olufsen. We know another company we can't talk about yet that's coming out with something very cool. They're a high-end headphone company that we really like the look of them and the sound. But it's still sort of a nascent technology, so that's why we only have 2 that we really recommend.
Yeah.
Including the AirPods and the Elite Active. But, there are others that you can buy. It's just you're going to have to shell out for it.
Yeah,
a little bit.
And I think
a lot.
Sennheiser waited for a reason, so it'll be interesting to see how the sound in particular,
they
because they're
waited
such
to
a
develop it a
sound
little bit
first
better.
company.
Yeah.
If they waited so that they could sort of improve upon what others are doing and charge a premium for it.
And you did bring up Sennheiser, but also Jabra. No,
Yeah,
I mean,
So
excuse me, you brought
Jabra,
up
had a
yeah.
they have a new version of the Elite Active 65T that comes with Alexa built in. They're selling it straight through Amazon for the same price as the other ones, or as the normal ones, $190. They're still
Can I ask, why does it matter if Alexa's built in? Isn't it running through your phone anyway?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of you could. Yeah, I asked the same
I mean,
question.
it's not running through your phone because nobody has Alexa voice assistant on their phone. I guess you could.
You can, yeah.
download the
Yeah,
app.
yeah, I mean,
it's not going to
in
be
the app.
Or
part
I
of the
mean,
OS.
okay, I guess I can see
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
It's I mean, if you're a big fan of the Alexa ecosystem, I can see it being a boost. The other thing is like if you're going to buy them on Amazon, which you probably are,
Yeah.
you just get that now
Right.
for free.
Yeah, it's gonna be- yeah.
And I think you get 3 months of free Amazon Music Unlimited. So if you're going to buy them and you're planning on not doing it on some kind of weird discount, which I don't even know if they're available because they're still so new.
These new ones.
If you're going to buy them on Amazon, you just get some perks now, I guess, and a different color
All right.
choice. Yeah.
All right. Well,
But
that's
they're still our favorites, so.
and that's the Jabra Elite Active 65.
Yeah, yeah. So they're fully waterproof, 5 hours of battery. Now apparently have
I
Alexa.
love the waterproof X.
They're
That's important.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
Yeah.
if you're going to use them for working out, it's the way to go.
Yeah,
So
totally.
they're our favorites right now, and now kind of come with better colors and more features.
Cool. Well, all that coverage too is at digitaltrends.com. Everything that we've seen from IFA, and there's continuing coverage, by the minute. Essentially, there's new stuff coming out on that, so you can take a look at all of that on there and talk about the 8K content. Let's get to the Apple rumors. So here's what happened today with Apple. They announced, and we knew their keynote was going to be in September. We didn't know the date exactly, but it's September 12th is when. So 2 weeks. I believe that's 2 weeks from today is when it's going to be happening. Almost 2 weeks. So Wednesday, September 12th. That's when Apple's going to have their keynote. They sent out their invites. Apple's always kind of weird about their invites. It's just a circular O that says gather round, which is, of course, talking about their circle their campus there, right? The spaceship, the circle, as we were talking about beforehand. Apple knows all. So they sent that out. So September 12th, 10 a.m. That's when they're going to be announcing the new things. But it sounds like some of it is already out already. And this comes from a 9 to 5 Mac, which is a website obviously focusing on Mac. And
But only from 9 to 5.
only from 9 to 5. After
At
that,
6
don't
o'clock,
forget about it.
quit.
And only
Late
Pacific
night.
time. It's only Pacific time. So
LateNightMac.com.
right. There's
24/7 Mac, that's a whole different deal.
There's an
Yeah,
opportunity
exactly.
there. Yeah.
It's just business time.
Goes over to that Mac makeup company at 5.
Yes, that's exactly. All right, let's talk about this. So here's a couple of the rumors that are coming out. Obviously, we know they're going to be having some new phones. That's not really a secret. They have to announce something. The rumor has long been that it's going to be 3 different phones. Now we're getting a little bit closer to dialing in what it is they're going to be doing. And they claim to have pictures. They have images of what the phones are going to look like. They claim that the name is most likely, again, not 100%. You know, we don't know if this is 100% true. But the iPhone XS. Or maybe you say...
I mean, technically 10s, but we like to
iPhone
call it the
10s.
XS because
it's
no
still-
one needs this thing.
It'll be $3,000.
Yeah.
And they'll tell you that it works just like a laptop.
Right. So this is what we're looking at right now. Okay.
It's so great. The XS. I just love it.
I love this idea because there's the
because the X
iPhone,
was already the XS.
the iPhone XS and the iPhone XS Plus. So there's
XS Plus. That's just, oh my God. It's a thing of
so
beauty.
the large phone is supposedly going to be a 6.5-inch version. So that's pretty big, and then a 5.5-inch version of the XS, and then perhaps a smaller, and this could be the SE version, maybe that they were talking about a 6.1-inch, although that seems pretty big for an SE.
That's
Yeah, my friend was just saying, I think a lot of people are used to the monster phones now. I got the V30, and now I have a monster phone, and you just kind of get used to it. It's thin, but I still can't get everywhere with my thumb.
I know, it hurts.
Yeah.
And my friend's like, Apple needs to make smaller freaking phones because some people don't like massive phones.
We're not
all
giants.
And
yeah.
Android has been, killing them on that front, like because there's every kind of Android phone. So it wouldn't be surprising me if they made something small, but 6 inches is not that small.
It's not that small. Yeah, well, a 5.8-inch version.
It's around.
I can't. I don't know what this is.
The V30 is pretty big.
What's the one? This is pretty big.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, and I've got
and this still
stubby
like
fingers,
I can't
so it wouldn't
get
really
up
work for me.
there.
And then we saw the Note. A friend of mine had the Note 9 the other day. That thing is just
Note 9 is
a
huge.
monster. It's a Mac Mini, or it's
Absolutely
an iPad Mini.
You're taking a photo with it. You're like that
so big.
guy.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm curious for anybody watching too. Are you excited about this? Do you want the new iPhone? I mean, and I know a lot of people say like, "Oh, I don't care," but as soon as anything Apple comes out,
they're
they're
gonna
going to
buy
be
it.
glued
They're
all
gonna
over
love
it.
it.
Yeah, there are people that will buy whatever Apple puts out, and I don't know.
Tim
if those
Cook is
are-
going to get so much richer off the XS Plus.
Yes, if that's what they call it.
Speaking of someone
Yeah.
who has some excess.
And then there's also the talk, that they could change the names altogether, and who knows what they'll do. But the rumor is XS Plus.
It'll be the
I just
totally
want it to be that.
affordable 7.
It's technically 10s, but we'll call it XS.
Well, we'll say, yeah. I like.
And I think we also saw that the Apple 4, the Apple Watch 4 is possibly coming.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's the other.
We got some leaked rumors on that too.
Well, and that's actually there's images.
Does it make
out
it
on
normal
this.
looking?
I mean,
Is that
this was
no.
this was the most
It still
the
does
iPhone
not look
news.
normal.
You can check that out. Digitaltrends.com again September 12th, and we'll carry that live. I'm sure we'll have it live coverage on here. But the Apple Watch Series 4, and this seems to, for some reason, a lot of people are very excited about this. Now, I'm not. I say that because I don't have a smartwatch. I'm looking at this. Looks really cool. I can't say it. Makes me like, I got to go out and throw my money down.
I just don't like the way that it doesn't look like a watch.
Well, this one, so the Apple.
Still.
So the Apple Watch 4, one of the key things, and again, this is the images coming from 9 to 5 Mac. They're showing that it's the screen goes all the way to the end. It looks like it rounds, actually, so it rounds over the sides of the watch. To me, that just means I'll scratch it. Is all that would happen for me. I'm like, yep, that's scratch. I'm gonna scratch right there.
It's broken.
I would bump it against a wall instantly, which is also why I don't have one. But yeah, they're going to increase we'll have a 1.2 different display options is part of the rumors. They're also saying, in addition to the aesthetics, some of the hardware or some of the software that'll come along with it and hardware is that's where they're talking about improving. One of the things is a potential UV detector to where it would detect if it's time to put on sunscreen
Hey,
or not.
I'd actually take that. That's good.
That's actually a pretty good idea. So increasing
Can I get
things
that
like
in normal, please?
Yeah. Yeah, so
I'll take one in normal.
One in normal. So that's kind of part of the way where I could get excited about it. You know,
they are cool.
Watch.
My dad has one.
Like
he wore a normal watch for, I don't know, 30 years and got one of these, the last gen, I guess it was, that has the 3G and everything. Yeah, the dude is like texting on his wrist.
He's all over
he
it.
loves it.
That's when the proposition to me became more interesting, is the fact that you can make calls on it by itself. Leave your phone at home. That's great.
He loved it.
You still can't do a lot because it's a tiny screen. I won't really be interested in this until they have the mini short throw projection systems.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Once they do that, then the watches will have a lot of functionality. You'll have buttons on your wrist or your hand or wherever, depending on where you put it, or you could also point it back if you've got short sleeves on or a white shirt, and it should be able to track your button. They have prototypes of this stuff out. It's pretty junky, but to me eventually that will make the proposition like, oh, okay, I just don't need a phone anymore.
I just want a hologram.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's I want a normal looking watch. I want an OLED display that's always on, that looks like a normal watch. That then, I get a text and all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's not a normal watch. Else. Yeah. And I mean, I understand why they have the rectangular display. It makes a lot more sense.
Right.
But, I
mean, so you want a gear.
I want a gear, but I want the battery life to be good enough that I can leave it on looking like a normal watch all the time.
Yeah.
Because right now you essentially have a screen that is mostly off.
And then
it like when you turn your wrist or whatever, it's on.
Yeah.
But I like just normal watch.
I
had to send mine back actually because it broke.
Okay.
But yeah, normally I wear a normal watch.
That's a story for another time. We'll do our own podcast on that one.
Very sad.
So
it was a sad day.
So again, these are talking about the Apple rumors, and we've got a whole rundown of all of them at digitaltrends.com. So the iPhone XS. I'm still going to say it XS. I don't care. They can try to get me to say 10S. I'm not going to do it. And then the Apple Watch Series 4. Look at me rebelling. So the Apple Watch Series 4 also. So that's going to
rebellions.
Yeah, all going to be coming out. And there's other talk about a new smarter way for wireless charging with Apple devices. So they're still trying.
I think we'll see that with the AirPods too. It seems like that's coming. Yeah.
I think the next AirPods will be waterproof and wireless charging. Will be
available.
Yeah. But I think the charging pad for the phones that we've seen so far for Apple are supposed to be really expensive.
Really expensive, and they're not as good as what
you might say that
out in the Android.
It's a bit of an excess. Crickets.
Just want to make sure everybody was aware. Can send an email to Parker Hall.
That's what you want on radio. Is dead airspace.
So that's what we're looking at for the Apple rumors, and you can check that all out at Digital Trends. Before we go, I have to pull out one random piece of technology that I've seen that I think I would love it if this were actually going to be working, but there is a company working on this. This is a completely random transition. It's something called the Amphibio gill. And what it is, it's a company that's working on coming up with a way for humans to breathe through like artificial gills. And so this company has developed this product, and it works as like a chest piece that you put on and then a mask that goes around your face. And it's designed so that it traps oxygen, and then you can breathe that oxygen, supposedly if you're underwater. They said they were looking at it because they imagine a world where New York, Tokyo, Beijing, Shanghai are all underwater. So they're looking at Waterworld. We're talking about Waterworld here.
Well, they originally got the design concept from Michael Jackson's video he was working on before his untimely passing.
Oh my God!
I don't know.
Wow, that was a real reach on that one.
Did you
see what it looked like?
Did you read this?
That's true.
So there was a scientist in this article though that was like, actually, you'd need one to be the size of a room to make enough.
And I wanted to talk about the hope first before I dashed it, but yeah,
well, your hope is that like all of the world is underwater.
No, I just love Waterworld. So I mean, that's really what it is.
You were just scrolling through the site and you were like, oh my God, it's happening.
Yes, where are my gills?
It's not going to be like Kevin Costner, dude.
Damn it.
First of all, like in a world in which everyone's underwater in major cities, think of the water quality.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be pretty gross.
Yeah. What?
Pretty gross water.
A lot of generations of...
Well, way to ruin dreams.
It looks pretty cool, though. I'll give you that. It does look pretty cool.
I like that somebody's thinking about this, though, and like came up with this concept. I think that's cool. Clearly, as you said, to dash all hopes, a scientist did say there's no way this would work as it is.
Physically impossible.
Well, yeah, he's like, you cannot trap enough oxygen with that.
We had a company that was pitching to us for a long time before Drew Prindle actually had this company that was pitching to him. It was like a little mouthpiece, and it was just like Star Wars.
Like the James Bond movie,
Yes.
too. Isn't there the James... Oh, it is Star Wars.
Star Wars
Yeah.
1, where they're
He's like,
swimming.
just putting a little mouthpiece in the
and it's
swimming
fine.
away.
It just like filters and splits the atoms and,
Yes.
and such.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's really
In a
easy
tiny
to do.
little tube.
Yeah, but or splits the molecules, I should say, and they just wouldn't get back to us. Every time we wanted to try it out, something just wasn't happening. Bad communication. Is
How
all.
weird.
Yeah.
It's really strange that worked out that
Kickstarted
way.
for $1 million and then just...
and then just silent. How strange. Well, anyway,
Unfortunately.
you can check out the Amphibio at digitaltrends.com. We've got an article on it and explaining why it doesn't work.
You would
But
need an
nonetheless,
excess of amphibios to breathe from them.
This has just been a terrible pun show. I mean, it's really
It's getting bad.
All right. I want to say thank you to everybody who tunes into Trends and Benefits. We do the show live every Thursday at 2:30 p.m. Pacific. But then, most importantly, up as a podcast. And that's what we want you to hit subscribe to. Wherever you get your podcasts, hit that button. Send us an email, podcast@digitaltrends.com. Myself and Ryan will be live tomorrow at noon Pacific with Between the Streams, talking about movies and entertainment. And there's actually a lot to talk about tomorrow.
Yeah, there's some really
There's
interesting.
some strange things that are
things
afoot.
happening.
And we know more about Disney's new streaming service. Like, lots to discuss.
Alec Baldwin's in, Alec Baldwin's out. It's a whole thing.
We'll get into that tomorrow, but tune in and hit subscribe on that as well. So we'll be
lot of
discussing
Baldwin
lots of big Baldwin day. Lots to talk about. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll be back next week with another episode.
There's a lot of Baldwins, but for one Baldwin to get that much news.
Well, I mean, really, you think it's Daniel?